with the right, as Ross said, with the wines and the herbs, to help break down that muscle fibre. So when it all comes together very well.
Yeah. Now, when you say now Ross is absolutely right, you meant me. It meant me, did you?
Well, absolutely. When I say Ross's.
So just to clear it, so I'm number 1, Ross, and that's number 2, Ross.
I don't think I was going to say Ross's.
Say, there's only one Ross here, boy.
Okay, are you finished now
Finished
with
now,
your support team?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Michael. Greatly appreciated. So, well, obviously, we're not just going to do the beef cheek. We're going to do some accompaniments to it, okay? One is, Paul is looking after here. One is an acidulated onion, which we're going to do underneath it, okay? And the second is a cauliflower puree, and I'll explain to you how we're going to make them now in a while.
Could I just
First
ask
of all,
you,
I want to show you.
What's acidulated onion? That sounds posh to me.
We cook it down and we use lots of white wine.
Okay.
And it gives when you reduce white wine, you get acidity because we want a clean flavour. Okay, because we have lots of very, very nice, strong flavours, rich, spicy, red wine, sweet, all that kind of thing. So what happens is that what you do is we take this piece of daub of beef there. And you can see now that it's caramelized, okay, which is browned all over, okay. You get those caramels, that's what is like the sugars and the protein in the meat start cooking hot with the oil, and you get nice sweet flavors. I'm sure everyone likes the caramelized piece of beef on the outside of a roast, etc., etc., and that's what it is really, okay. So we're going to add some white wine to this. This is our onions, just cut in there with the onions, and they're just about sweated down. Don't let them brown, okay? Because if they brown, you're just going to get a really muddy colour, okay? So we're going to put a nice bit of white wine in there, as you can see, a good healthy splash, and we're going to keep covering here our daub of beef. So this is black treacle, okay? So this will add a nice little bit of sweetness, okay? So we turn it over there. And the other thing is, don't forget to season your beef, okay? Anything you're cooking, season it beforehand. One of the primary differences, I think, between the domestic chef and the professional chef is, you know, we're trained to always remember to season things. And you very often will cook something, say, it doesn't taste that great. You add a small bit of salt in, and now it starts coming to life, you know. Salt adds, it emphasises the flavour in things, as does acidity. Lemon juice, great vinegars and stuff like that. We use Cabernet Sauvignon vinegars and all that kind of thing. So then what we do is we take our spice, okay? Now, we have a list of spices there. This is a mix, green saffron around here, actually. Aaron from Green Saffron, he does our spice mix for us. So he makes 7 or 8 different spices for different things that we do. This is one in particular that he makes up for us for the beef. We have other ones. We make spiced ice cream, other ones for spiced red cabbage and all that kind of thing. Okay, so you can see that there now. Okay, so what we do then is we put that into a nice pot. Okay, you can put in on top. I'm not going to put in this one because we don't need to, but I need to use the liquid in this. You can put in top your red wine. Okay, and then you can put it into the oven. Okay, now we do this for about 90 degrees for 12 hours. Now, you don't have to do that. You can put it in at about 130, 140 degrees for 5 or 6 hours. It'll take a lot of cooking, and you'll know it's cooked when it starts almost falling apart, okay? Right now, it's a very springy, spongy piece of meat, okay? Now, what happens then is that when you realize it's cooked, we take it out, and just to get a nice shape then, we put it into, when it's cool, we put it into the fridge, okay? And what you get is, we put a little weight, we put something on it, put a tray on it, okay? And you get it pressed. And because there's a lot of gelatine in the cheek, it'll do whatever you want. Now, if you want to, the alternative to that is you can roll it, okay? And it looks like, almost then looks like a fillet of beef, okay? So you can present it like that as well. I kind of like the flat approach. It looks nice on the plate. It's kind of interesting, okay? So one beef cheek, which will cost you about €2. See? I know that.
Will feed...
You're robbing me. Okay?
How many will that feed now?
Well, that'll feed 2 people very nicely, okay? So I'm going to take that piece of beef, and I'm just going to cut it down into 2 kind of semicircles there, okay?
Maybe while you're doing that, maybe during the week you may have heard ads on the radio for the show. and we had lots of competitions as well in newspapers. And some people have won a place at the chef's table today to be fed by Ross Lewis. Did you not know that?
No.
And you've only cooked for 2. Anyway.
Well, it could be a loaves and fishes job.
So maybe if they'd like to make their way up to the table now.
How you doing? How you doing? Pleased to meet you. Oh, God. How you doing? Pleased to meet you. I better not kiss everyone because, you know, the ladies might get jealous. How you doing? Pleased to meet you. Hi, how you doing there in the end? Okay.
You get a kiss later.
Now,
okay.
so I have in this pot here the juices. When I cook the beef cheek, you get a nice thick juices, okay? You keep them, strain them off, and you can put the beef cheek in the fridge for 1 or 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, no problem, it'll keep.
Just mind
It's
yourself.
done, it's out of your way, you've done all the hard work. Now all you need to do is you need to reheat them, okay? So what you're going to do is we're going to reheat it in some of the juices, okay? If the juices, you add a little bit of butter to thicken them. The other thing is you can add a little bit of corn flour and thicken it. And I'll tell you what that does. Essentially, you need a nice thick glaze, because what I'm going to do is going to put this in an oven at like 150. I'm going to put it in there for maybe 10-15 minutes. I'm going to baste it every now and again. And what happens is the sweetness from the black treacle and the juices, etc., etc., it'll give it a really nice, shiny, sweet, spicy coating, okay? So that should taste absolutely superb when you're finished, okay?
Maybe while that's cooking, we'll get Raymond to tell us about the wine. Oh, he's pouring away.
He started already.
He started already. Raymond's going to tell us about the wine that he's chosen to go with this.
The wine I have chosen to go with the beef cheek. Now, listening to Ross there, I'm sure you'll have picked up, I've studied this menu during the week.
Sorry,
This
Ross
is-
2.
Oh, Ross 2, is it?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
okay. This is full throttle food, you know, and it calls for full throttle, unapologetic wine. And where would you go for that sort of wine? But you want an Australian Shiraz, which has been aged in American oak, which tends to make a difference.
You're going to blend it,
It gives it more robust flavours than you would get, say, from a Shiraz aged in French oak, the same wine aged in French oak. This is a Penfolds Bin 28 Kalimna Shiraz, and you can see, as you know, watching a wine tasting is not a spectator sport. It's not much fun watching somebody else having a great old time and going, I get this and I get that, and blackberries and raspberries and whatever. So we have on the side, everybody in the audience will now get a little taster sample of the wine that we're going to be sampling up here now. Okay? I'll continue pouring.
Oh, it's like smell-o-vision.
Exactly. I'll continue pouring here now. And we'll see how this goes at the chef's table. We'll be asking the people how they find the match between the, as I say, the full throttle food and the unapologetic full throttle wine as well. And I suppose Ross 1 and 2 deserve a glass as well, do they?
Oh, absolutely.
Could we have a
No,
show
I
of
tell you.
hands?
I have to...
Ross,
you know,
I leave that there.
Oh, thank you very much. So I have to lean over the heat as
Yeah.
you get it, so thank you very much. Did you,
Well, did you hear that?
you couldn't get any less into the glass. 'Cause
I'd
you
always
obviously don't
say-
know of a chef's reputation.
I'd always say to you folks, if, you know, people often talk about the temperature that wine is served at. Now, in fact, if you feel that bottle, it's quite cool. We have a terrible habit here in Ireland of serving white wine too cold and red wine too warm. Red wine